Hi everyone, this is going to be a three-part series on breastfeeding tips. I will go over quickly my my personal top 10 breastfeeding tips. So as most of you may know, I am a mother of 3 and I personally chose to breastfeed all 3 of my kids. My 2 eldest, I did it for almost a little over a year. Every time that I had to wean them, I was pregnant with the second one. Then when I weaned my second daughter, I was pregnant with my 3rd baby. So, and currently now I'm on month 8 of breastfeeding my son. So far it's going well, and I think overall it's your own personal choice. There are many health benefits for the baby for breastfeeding. Also, it is quite cost effective because, as many of you may or not know, it's very costly to formula feed your baby. And also the convenience of breastfeeding, I think, is one of the bonus parts as a mother. So if you're watching this video and you are planning on breastfeeding your child and this is going to be your first time experiencing breastfeeding, so it's hard to really get a good idea from books and other information sites until you do experience it firsthand. I know for myself, I was unsure of how to, of course, at first, and if I was going to even last in it. And luckily enough for me, it has worked out perfectly for my first experience with my daughter and with my second and my 3rd child as well. So for number 1, I say to utilize any breastfeeding classes or support groups that your hospital may offer. I know for myself, with my first daughter, the day that she was born, they let me know that there was a breastfeeding class at the hospital. So I made sure to attend that class just to get some important tips from a specialist. Which leads me to number 2. Make sure to utilize the lactation specialist that's in your hospital. I mean, that's what they're there for. That's their job. I mean, at first, I know for myself with my first daughter, I was a little bit shy, you know, to have to expose myself to a complete stranger that's supposed to show me how to breastfeed my child. But I mean, that's their job, and you gotta get over your shyness because they're there for the benefit of you learning how to properly breastfeed your baby. So that is a very important tool that I say that you should utilize in your hospital, or hopefully that your hospital does provide that. So I say to definitely utilize your lactation specialist. Number 3, I know that my hospital did offer a breastfeeding support group post-birth of my daughter, but at the time it was in the middle of winter and it was kind of hard for me to attend it, but I did want to. I really wish that I did attend that breastfeeding support group. I think I'm not sure, but I think they met maybe once a month, or I'm not sure what their schedules are for meeting, but I know that tool is there definitely if you want to take advantage of that. Or I know of the LECHE League. It has a website, which I will post the website and the number. It's an organization, basically a support group to help in any questions that you may have in breastfeeding your child. So I say definitely to take advantage of that as well. And number 4, I say pretty much don't give up. If it's your first time, it may seem a little bit frustrating. It can be quite painful within those first few days to a week, especially if you're thinking you have no supply. At first it's just the colostrum that comes out, but within a few days your milk will come in. Just don't give up. I know for myself, I had that feeling in the beginning with my first daughter. I was a little bit worried that I wouldn't be able to do it or to keep up with it, or thinking, am I going to last a month? Am I going to be able to do this for 6 months? And lo and behold, it worked out. I got through the first month. I got through the first 6 months. I got through a whole year. And so that's what I just say. Just keep at it and don't give up. the supply will come in, and once it comes in, you will know that it's there. Number 5, I say to keep a daily log. In the hospital, they gave me a sheet to document all the activities of the baby, as far as breastfeeding and urination or number 2 diaper and such. So I made sure to continue that when I got home. And I bought one of these little like 5-star notebooks. So definitely keep a daily log. As I did, I would always purchase. I purchased one of these with my first daughter, and every time I filled it up, I would go out and get another one. Now this is the one that I had with since my son was born. Now, for instance, I started this book when I was still pregnant with my son, and you know, I would just put the date and the initials of each of my kids and like what they ate, if they had. Well, my daughters are already older, so I wouldn't document every little thing, but I would definitely document if they had a stool, and I would circle it. Just because some days they might go without, they might not go, and I would want to keep track in case I missed that. And then once my son was born, I would start documenting with him. Dylan's home, and I would document the side that I would breastfeed on, left or right, and for how long, or at least to know the time that I did it, like for 20 minutes or 10 minutes on whatever side. Until today, I don't document right or left or how many minutes, because I feed on demand pretty much. So, but I do document, you know, what they eat and when they go number 2, and if they're sick, like when they take their meds at times, and so forth. So I find this a hard habit to let go of, and I think it's a beneficial habit. So, I mean, I'm still continuing to do it. I'm almost done with this book. I must have gone through at least 3 or 4 of these notebooks already, but I find that it really helps me, especially for breastfeeding purposes, to remember which side that you nurse last, or for how long, or when. And also, it leads me to number 6, is to wear a reminder bracelet, especially early on. If you find that you forget like what time or what side that you fed on last. They gave me this at the hospital when my son was born. I think it's by Medela, or I'm not sure, I'm not saying that brand properly, but it has these little dots. I don't know if you can see, and all these numbers. So for example, you fed at 7 a.m. you move the little thing to this little heart thing to whatever time you breastfed last. And so if you fed on the left side last, I would leave it on this hand. So if you forget, you go, oh, I breastfed at 7 a.m. on my left side, so now it's time to breastfeed on the right. Now, I didn't really use this much, but only because it's kind of big, and you know, being that was my 3rd child, I didn't really feel the need to have reminders anymore. And also I had my daily logbook. But if it's, I know I didn't use this particularly. I didn't use this particularly with my first child, but I did use just any bracelet. For example, like my rosary bracelet, I would just switch it to whichever hand that I fed on last. So it doesn't have to be a specific breastfeeding bracelet, but any bracelet would do, or anything that could help you. I know there's lots of other types, jewelry type things out there to help with reminders for breastfeeding, but this is one of them. You could also try to ask in your hospital if they have one to give you. So that's number 6. The bracelet reminder is a helpful tool, especially for your first time. Number 7, I say do what works for you. I feed on demand. I fed all my kids pretty much on demand. With my first daughter, I pumped just a little bit, only because I did try to go back to work, and you know, it ended up being that it just worked out best for me to stay at home, so I've been home ever since. But if pumping works for you and you're working mom, or you find that you get some people, their babies don't latch on so well, so they prefer to pump and bottle feed, or feed on demand like I do, or a little bit of both. So everybody is different, every baby is different, every mom is different, every person's supply is different, so every baby latches on differently. So do what works for you. Number 8, my pick positions for breastfeeding are the cradle position, which you're holding your baby's head at the side that you're going to breastfeed from. And then the side lying position, I do that when they're a little bit older, which you lie on the bed and feed the baby from the side of your breast on the bed. So I do a little bit of both, and I find that those positions work the best for me. Now, it might not work for everybody, but those are the 2 positions that work best for me. It is important to have good nursing bras. This will lead to my second video, which I will go more in depth about my picks for good nursing bras. Good nursing bras for the day, going out, and especially for nighttime use. So I'll go more in depth than that in the second video. I'll post the link somewhere here, an annotation somewhere here. Make sure to carry all of your nursing essentials, and I will go more in depth with that in my third video for this 3-part series on breastfeeding. So I just wanted to go over those top 10s really quickly, and hope I didn't miss anything. And if you do have any questions, please comment below and let me know. And I hope you'll check out the second, third video in this series.